All right, good evening, everybody. Today we are conducting a structured interaction with this experienced professional from the finance industry to gain the practical insights beyond the classroom learning. It is a privilege to have with us here Mr. Rishi Sharma, who brings valuable experience and knowledge from the finance industry. He has got a 17 plus years of experience in the FP&A, revenue management, and the business intelligence, and also with the business analysis. Currently, he is working with the Eclectus Consulting. He's working at the Eclectus Consulting as a finance business manager. So, thank you so much, sir, for being here with us today and taking out your valuable time to interact with us. Yeah, so, let's begin with the discussion now.
All right. Thank you for having me, guys.
Okay, sir. My first question will be: how will you describe the uh, current business environment of our finance industry? What are the major trends, challenges in the future?
All right. So when we talk about the today's world out here, so we need to think from the perspective of the different industries that are trying to sustain in the market. Like if we talk about the current situation of the market, AI is trying to capture each and every industry. So everybody is after AI, how they can have AI on board to their environment in order to turn around things very magically for their business, because AI is something which has proven their the capabilities since 2022, and since then there is a buzz in the market, due to which every companies now started to invest in the AI sector. And when I say started to invest in the AI sector, reason being because they know that how powerful this tool is, but there are certain things that they need to keep in mind, because it's the AI, and it comes up with a lot of kind of risk related to data privacy, compliance, and other things. So they also want to keep that thing in mind, that before they adopt AI for their business purpose, for different tasks that they want to perform using AI, how secure it is for the company's overall future. So currently they are evaluating the different AI tools, how it can be adopted for different areas of the business that they can onboard these AI tools on. When we talk about the current era of the different industries, so it is a very fast paced environment that we have. And there are a lot of challenges that companies are facing related to the cost, first of all, because of the competition in the market, that they are into some industry, and you have competitors around. So how would you, cope up with that situation? How would you optimize your cost, because you want to grow in the business, so you need to spend on marketing, you need to spend on a lot of other things. You need to do a lot of capital kind of investment, capex, right? So the capex that companies are investing in, they also want to get something in return, the return on investment. So that return on investment rate is not very good for a lot of the companies because of the AI. Because AI is actually changing the market completely, the way people used to think traditionally, how they are running the business. Now AI is throwing like different challenges in the market, because the kind of capability and uh, the power that AI has got, because it can think from more than million minds in one time. But if I talk about the workforce industry, wherein people work in different industry, whether it's IT, finance, or any other industry, people are a little bit scared that AI will take their job. But that's not the case. If you also learn about AI, if you get more knowledge about AI, then you'll know that AI is not actually taking your jobs. It is only taking the jobs for people who are not ready to upgrade, who are not ready to accept the challenge. So if you accept the challenge right now, even before you start your career with some company, I would suggest that start learning about AI tools. Just think about the different capabilities that you can bring on table using the AI expertise that you have alongside the other tools that you're learning, whether it's Power BI, SQL, Python, or whatever the different tools that you're learning. But think from a company's perspective, because they are looking for somebody, who is coming up with a analytical mindset, who is coming up with a mindset, who can partner in their business to grow their business to a next level. So think from that perspective. Don't just go for a particular role wherein you think that this role is something that I fit in based on the skill set or the expertise that I've got. Since you have no experience, you have no idea how the industries work, how their business model is, how they're earning the revenue, what are the different challenges they are facing, who are their competitors, all of these things that you need to start thinking of. And based on that knowledge, you will be able to contribute better for that industry, for that particular role that you're going for. I hope,
Um,
let me stop here and let me take another question. Sorry.
yes, sir. So, according to you, what are the biggest challenges currently faced by companies in this sector?
So currently, as I mentioned, the cost is one of the biggest challenge, because if the company is growing, they need to they want to grow exponentially, but the thing is, a lot of cost is also involved in order to grow their business, whether it's workforce, whether it's resources, the infrastructure, and everything. If you hire one person, just think from a small company's perspective, who are having the total strength of 100, right? If they hire one person, they have to think from a lot of perspective. It's not just the salary that they need to pay to the new employee that they have hired, but also the infrastructure cost that is involved, and a lot of other costs, the workstation which they need to arrange for the new person, and a lot of infrastructure and logistic kind of expenses that they need to make. So all of these are actually adding up to the kind of cost that companies are not uh, doing efficiently, because they are working towards growing their business. And that's where you people are going to contribute a lot, wherein you come as a partner, that I give you certain recommendation based on the analysis that I've done on the data. Now these are the kind of changes that I recommend, that will be very, very helpful in optimizing the cost, in automating the process, in analyzing the cost little faster. These are the new technologies that I can bring on the table, because I am proficient in these. If you talk about AI, just imagine you work for a smaller company, which has a strength of like 200 to 250 or maybe 500 people. The company cannot invest into like the high amount technologies or the expensive technologies. So how you as a skillful person can contribute and grow their business to bring them from one stage to another stage? So that's something that you need to focus on. It's not always about learning tool. It's always about thinking from a perspective that uh, how I can contribute as a employer, or as a worker in the company, because one should have a teamwork kind of a mindset. I need to work as a team, because if you do a job just like just for sake that I just need to spend 8 hours in the company and then I get my salary, and that's all I need to do. It's the bare minimum thing the company is looking for. At least the JD that you've gone through, that what is the role that you're going to perform. But apart from that, more than that, the company is expecting you to contribute in different ways, how you can think out of the box, and contribute towards the overall business growth. Yes, Ayush, you have a question.
No, sir, no such questions. वो गलती से हो गई.
All right, no issues. I hope everybody's asking me question. Okay, you're outside. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other
Uh,
question?
so
Let
my next question to you, sir, is, sir, what are the key expectations from the fresh graduates entering into fintech industry?
All right, I can answer that, but before that, I need to know what you have in your mind as a fresher, because you have not worked in any of the companies yet. You don't know, how companies work, how a corporate environment is. So let me first take your thoughts, and then share my thoughts on the same question.
So according to me, entering into fintech industry, a candidate should have a basic knowledge of some financial tools like Python, Power BI, or SQL.
Again,
So
you're talking
apart from
tools. Sorry.
yes, sir. So apart from those tools, like fintech industry, may how a candidate can be fitted.
Have you heard of a term called digital transformation?
No.
So when you are talking about fintech, fintech is a combination of finance and technology. And this particular industry is based on digital transformation. Digital transformation in using like different technologies, definitely. And AI is the best, tool nowadays that is, contributing a lot into different industries. If I talk about e-commerce, if I talk about healthcare, if I talk about banking industry, just think from, different areas how AI is contributing, and companies have already adopted it. So why I'm focusing more on AI, because AI is the future, that we all know, and we need to accept this fact. These tools are going to be temporary, but AI is going to be there for a long time, because that's how powerful this particular tool is. Learning different tools, learning different technologies would definitely help, but I would suggest, one should come up uh, with a mindset where you think that, how critically you can think, how you can take a real business problem and solve it, and how quickly you can solve it. That's another thing, because when we are talking about fintech, so fintech is a digital kind of industry, wherein a lot of digital transformation technologies have been introduced. If we talk about Paytm, if we talk about any other fintech company, they are coming up with different technologies or the ideas using which, they're able to solve real problems. So that's where, your mindset should be like learning these things, learning those skills which are required for that particular industry. I'm not saying only for fintech, but for every other industry that you name off. Those industries are also looking for, people, because company already know that you are not having, expertise onto the tools that they want you to work on. You are just coming up with the mindset wherein you are a problem solver. You can take up challenges, and you can solve the problem as quickly as you can. You will give your 100%. You come up with a uh, broad mindset that, just give me a problem, I'll solve it. If you come with that kind of attitude, then definitely that you have to show. Definitely it's not just a CV that talks about you everything, but when you are in an interview, you should also showcase these, things that people, read about you. Not just the way you are speaking about it, but also the how confidently you're speaking about it. So that's how, one should be preparing. So how you start your interview and how you end your interview is very important. So when you start your interview with your introduction, that's the main part wherein you're sharing yourself. You're putting yourself in front of someone in a way that, one should understand, what you're talking about. But when you're closing your statement, there also, it is very very important how strongly you're closing the statement in that particular interview round. That will also leave a good impact on the interviewer, and based on that, your selection will be based. So my suggestion to you would be, whenever you go for an interview, just try and prepare both your starting and ending. Start and end both matters. Just
Okay.
talk about yourself confidently, and that's all you need for an interview. So yeah.
So, sir, which technical skills and soft skills do you believe are the most important for candidates to succeed in this field?
Business communication. When I talk about business communication, I'm not talking about talking in English. When I say business communication, one should be good with numbers, how you story tell about the different analysis that you have performed on the data. So one should be very very good in explaining and making sure that other person is understanding what you're trying to say. It's not just one sided conversation that I just completed my statement. Doesn't matter whether the other person understands it or not. So I need to also ensure that the other person is getting or coming into my shoes and thinking from that perspective. So this is how you should be doing your business communication going forward. And from now onwards, you can start learning how you should be talking about numbers, how you should be talking about your analysis, how you should be talking about the different insights that you are generating based on whatever the practice projects that you're doing, that will see tomorrow how you come up with your project and how you explain that to me. So this is something that people are looking for. They already know that you do not have any expertise into working into corporate environment, working on different tools. Though you say that I have learned Python, I have learned SQL, I have learned Power BI, I have learned Tableau, but they want to actually practically see that you know the tool, you are expert into it, but give me what I want. If you can give that thing in a quicker manner, that's something the company is expecting. If you're spending like 2 hours using Power BI in generating one insight, then it does not make sense. So that's something you should be focusing on.
Okay, sir. So, like, if I talk about in your organization or like in any of the finance organization, so if you can tell me what are the like typical recruitment and the selection process that happens for the fresher graduates?
I think the typical recruitment process goes with the resume screening. First of all, your profile screening. So, how strongly you put together your profile about talking about you. Not everything you can capture in your resume, right? That's for sure. Make it as crisp as possible. Talk about your achievements, your highlights, and there is a proper structure that you can follow that we can talk about tomorrow in the class. In case you want, I can talk about how you write a resume about you. So though there are different ways how we can optimize a resume, there are AI tools and different other things, but I can share how when I take the interview, when I look at the CV, what are the details that I look at. So these are the things that I can share with you. But for me, the most important thing is how strongly you represent yourself. One thing is your CV, the other thing is when you come for a face to face or maybe an online interview, uh, wherein how you're talking about things about you and how confidently you're putting yourself on the table. And this is something that you need to focus more on, rather talking about that I know Python, I know Power BI, I know this thing, that thing. you know Companies are not bothered how many tools that they are looking for a critical mindset, a mindset who can solve the problem, real business problem. You talk about real business problem, you talk about different industries, you talk about their challenges. That's what people want to know, so that they're already aware that that this person is not only talking about the cosmetic things, he's also thinking practically. Once I've been given this role, how will I contribute to this role? So this is the kind of mindset you should be coming with. Then there are different ways how we can gauge on these points. There is a aptitude test that we can take. We can put certain scenarios, the business scenarios in front of you. We ask you to think critically about that situation and how you can come up with a solution. Yes, Ayush, again you raise your hand. You wanted me to stop, was it for that? Looks like
No,
it
no,
was.
no, sir. Actually, sir, I'm traveling ना तो हो सकता है वो अपने आप ऑन हो जा रहा है. I'm really
No,
sorry,
I
भाई.
just thought that, I'm just talking and talking and talking, so you wanted me to stop.
No, no, no. Sir, we want you to guide us in a thorough way.
No, I can, whatever the limited knowledge that I have, I will definitely share. And, I can also talk about the resume writing tomorrow in case we get some time. Definitely. Quickly, I'll have a look at your CVs in case you want to share with me, like you want to show me that, this is what you have got. And let me also suggest you from my, kind of experience, how you should be building your CV. Not CV, resume. For you, it's not CV. For you, it's resume. I hope you understand the difference between two.
Yes, sir.
Sure, sir. We do.
Good. All right. Any other question that I can answer?
No, sir. Thank you so much. It was a
Thank you.
great and insightful session. We learned about the importance of digital transformation, effective team collaboration, business communication, and using modern tools for continuous learning. The session also gave us a better understanding